औज़ुबिल्लाहिमिनश्शैतानिर्रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम अज़ीज़ बच्चों अस्सलामु अलैकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू Today's topic is the man who empowered the blind. कल यानी परसों भी यही लेसन टॉपिक में रहा है, यानी ये अभी कंटिन्यूसली द मैन हु एम्पावर्ड द ब्लाइंड लेसन चल रहा है। आज मैं कोशिश करूँगा इस सारे के सारे लेसन को आप तक पहुंचाने की भरपूर कोशिश करूँगा। आप अपना ध्यान मेरी इस वीडियो की तरफ रखें। मैं आप पढ़ने जा रहा हूँ इस लेसन को, जहाँ से मैं पढ़ने शुरू करने जा रहा हूँ वो है One evening he found the answer. He was sitting in a restaurant listening to a friend read aloud from a newspaper. Suddenly he heard something that made him jump up in his excitement. Louis pounded on the table, shouting, laughing, and crying all at once. The new article was about night writing, a new signal code in the French army, an artillery captain named Charles Barbite in the Napoleon army had developed a technique of sending messages by means of dots and dashes in relief, that is, standing above the surface of the paper like embossed type. This code could be used in the dark because it could be felt with the fingertips. If a man could read and write a message in the dark without using his eyes, then a blind person could do it too. Louis met Captain Barbire, who explained his code to him. He punched some holes in a sheet of paper with a simple awl not so different from the one that had cost him his sight. The captain made Louis feel the bumps or dots that he had made on the other side of the paper. A certain combination of dots meant a certain army command, like retreat to the man line or ceasefire, and so on. Louis Borley was overjoyed. Punching dots on paper was easy. fast and inexpensive. एक्सपेंसिव इसका एंटोनियम है इनएक्सपेंसिव, फास्ट का एंटोनियम है स्लो, इजी। अगर इसका आप एंटोनियम लेंगे, इजी मीन्स आसान और मुश्किल मीन्स डिफ़िकल्ट, इजी डिफ़िकल्ट। Now he could figure out a way by which the blind might punch out all words in a code made of dots. After many months of hard work, when Lewis was 70 and 90 in 1829, he had worked out his system. He designed a little hand punch that could be used with a oblong cell containing 6 holes. There was a special combination of dots for every letter of the alphabet, for every number, and for every punctuation mark. Another blind person who knew the code could now feel the dots made by the punch and read what Barley had written. After a while, Liz learned to punch right almost as fast as a person could talk, and he could identify dot writing with his fingers almost as quickly as sighted people could read printed type. Lewis punched out a number of stories as they were read to him from books. He knew the method, but now the authorities of the institute would not accept Barley's idea of people who could see were satisfied with the old methods and felt there was no reason to change to something new. Printers of the old style embossed books were afraid they would lose business if Barley's system were adopted. But Barley went on with his work. He taught his blind pupils in private after school. यहाँ जो ये पीपल्स आया है, PUIPL, पीपल मीन शागिर्द, यानी उस्ताद के जो स्टूडेंट्स उन्हीं को पीपल्स कहते हैं और दूसरा पीपल PEOPLE, पीपल मीन्स लोग. Others, they soon realized how much better his method was, and they told other blind people about it. Barley began to get letters from the blind in every country in the world begging for instruction. For the next few years, Barley worked to improve his system. He worked at his teaching and his music too. He designed a special code for musical notes so that a blind musician like himself could learn to play a score by reading the music with his fingertips. Little by little, Barley and his friends punched out textbooks, storybooks, and songbooks. Then some printers invented machinery for making copies of these books, but still his system was hardly known to the public. To Barley's great disappointment, it had not caught on. Louis's health began to fail, and it seemed to him that the work of his lifetime might die with him, but he was still to have his moment of trump. Trump. Among his music pupils was a blind young girl who was a very fine pianist pianist यानी वो बाजा बजाने वाली बेहतरीन लड़की थी. Barley had taught her his dot method of reading and writing music. One evening she gave a concert which was highly applied, applauded, applauded. The young girl held up her hand for silence. Then she made a speech about Barley and what his method had meant to her. I beg you to applaud him, not me, she said. I play through his eyes. The next day, the Paris newspapers were filled with stories about Barley and his work for his blind people. So much interest was aroused that many schools finally agreed to use his system. When Barley heard about this, he wept out of joy because he said that his life had not been a failure after all. This was in 1852 when Barley was 43 years old. 2 years later, the Institute for the Young Blind officially adopted Lewis's system and named it after him. Books were translated into Barley, and through books the blind found empowerment they had never dreamt of. इस लेसन में जो मैंने आपको पढ़ाया है, इंशाल्लाह कल मैं इस सारे के सारे लेसन को मैं उर्दू में ट्रांसलेट करने जा रहा हूँ और उर्दू के साथ साथ कश्मीरी में मैं आपको इसकी ट्रांसलेशन बताऊंगा. आज जितना मैंने आपको इस लेसन में पढ़ाया है, इंशाल्लाह आप इस पर प्रैक्टिस करें, खुद भी पढ़ें. जहाँ कोई दिक्कत रही होगी आप मुझसे रब्ता भी कर सकते हैं. بذریعہ فون کال بھی آپ مجھ سے کسی لفظ کے مشکلات کے بارے میں پوچھ سکتے ہیں. تھینک سو مچ. السلام علیکم.